What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and in today's video we're going to be talking about models. In the last video we connected our database to our server to our database, and this video we're going to be talking about creating models and also all the things you could do with models, because I don't think a lot of people could screw it, I'm not going to do it. That's my final one. Sorry guys, I've been trying like the 20 times. This is like my 20th, I don't know, something time. I've been trying to say everything in the very first beginning, in the beginning of the video, just in under one breath. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, I tried to. But anyways, in this video we're going to be creating models and talking about everything you could do. Well, not everything, but most of the stuff you could do with models. A lot of people don't even talk about all the different things, all the options, all the attributes you could add into models. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Before we get into that, guys, I do want to say a few things. First of all, guys, we are still at the, I think we went down a bit, but we're still like 82% unsubscribed and 18% subscribed. So if you aren't unsubscribed and you like my videos, you are learning something from it, or you just are entertained by it. Don't know how you're being entertained, but if you're entertained, then I would greatly appreciate hitting that like button or consider subscribing. Or no, screw it, and subscribing. There's no or. Also, guys, if you do feel like supporting me other than just watching my videos, there are going to be links down below. You know how I love my coffee, so I would greatly appreciate if you bought me some coffee. Greatly appreciate it. Another thing is that you might notice there's some different stuff right here in this file. It's because I've been working on the server boilerplate for myself, and I just forget to keep on changing or uploading those changes to the GitHub repo. So you might have the old version of the GitHub repo. Matter of fact, everybody has the old version of the GitHub repo until you start pulling it after this video. Then you have the new one. I'm super sorry about that, guys, but yeah, nothing too much different. It's just modern modifications. And lastly, guys, we did screw up on connecting to our database in the last video. We did connect it successfully, but the thing is, we did it in the wrong way, where we set up our client for connecting models or creating models. In the last video, we actually made this function async, and you should not be doing this. And let me actually show you why. So if I do async, when you return something in an async function, you're gonna be returning a promise, right? So if I do rs, yeah, don't worry about it. Let's go up a bit. Where's my rs? Where is my rs? Okay, that's giving me a different error. Hold on, let me try to do it one more time. All right, here it is. Yeah. So if I do console.log, where is it at? Right here, Postgres client, where we return a SQL, it's going to return a promise. This is something that we do not want. We don't want a promise of our Sequelize object. We want our Sequelize object, not the promise. All right. So in order to get rid of that, I had to get rid of the async, and also obviously get rid of the await. So I just did the .then.catch and then return Sequelize. So that way, now if you do this, you're not gonna get a promise back. You're actually going to get the Sequelize object. Where is it at? God. Oh, here it is. See that? There's no more promise. You actually grab the Sequelize object. This is going to make it easier on you guys. Yes, there are ways around, like, making returning a promise and doing other things, but don't make it complicated on yourselves. Just return just do it this way. All right, enough of the updates, the little tiny minor updates. Time to get into creating models. And I've already gone ahead and done some stuff because I don't want this video to extend more than what it needs to be. So I created a folder over here called models, and inside of models, what? I don't see it. Oh yeah, inside of models, damn, I didn't create that. But anyways, inside of models, we're going to create another folder called Sequelize. Now this is just me being a little bit organized, right? Because you could have different models for different databases, right? You could have models for Mongoose. You can have models for Sequelize, right? So I just want to keep it a little bit organized. So inside of Sequelize, I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this index.js. And in here, we're going to import some stuff from, we're going to grab some stuff from equals require from Sequelize. And basically the thing that we're going to be grabbing, I don't want to type the whole thing. There you go. is data types. All right, because with Sequelize, you do need to specify the data types that you're going to be using, like strings or integers, and the way you do that is by data types dot string dot integer dot whatever, right? So anyways, we're going to need that, and then module dot exports, because you already know how I like to do my stuff. It's going to be a function, and we're going to be passing in the client, which is Sequelize. No, not selector. Sequelize. There you go. And in here, this is where we're going to create our model. We're going to create a user model, right? User is going to equal Sequelize.define. This is pretty much the same thing as in Mongoose or anything else. It looks pretty much the same. So this define right here takes in 3 arguments: the model name, the attributes you want to add to the model, and also the options for the model, right? So let's start off with the model name. I'm just going to call this model user, and then next up is the attributes we want to add. So in this case, let's just have a first name, right? And we're going to say type is going to be data type dot string, right? It's going to be a string. Make sure it's all uppercase. No, all uppercase. I even said it myself and I didn't even do it. There it is. And we're going to go for the basic stuff for right now. Don't worry, we are going to circle back and add a little bit more configurations or more attributes and properties and options. But for right now, let's just stick with the basics, okay? So the type is going to be, a string, and also we're going to say allow null to be false, meaning that we do have to have the first name. And I'm going to just copy this, and I'm going to do last name as well. Last. And then last but not least, we're going to say Sequelize dot sync. And don't worry, like I said, we are going to talk about like everything that's happening in here. I want to be crystal clear on all the things, what's happening, what is this Sequelize sync, what the hell is it doing, and all that stuff, all right? So don't worry about it. Just follow along for right now. I just want to create this table for users, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Next up, we're going to create a service, user service, that's going to be using this model. So all you have to do is grab the model, the models.sequelize. I'm grabbing all the models, right? Because in this index, I could add more models if I wanted to. Right now, we only have a user, but I could add a tweet model if I wanted to. So we're grabbing all the models from this, from right here. We're importing it from sequelize.index.js. Remember, guys, if you don't specify the actual JS file, it's going to automatically grab the index.js, which it is, right? So anyways, and then we're going to make a constructor. We are going to be passing our Sequelize client in here. So, and then models, we still got to pass in our Sequelize client in here as well. So model Sequelize, and then we're just creating some simple, stuff. This.client equals Sequelize, this.models equals Sequelize.models. Don't worry about this right now. We're not going to be talking about this, but I'm just trying to set up for future videos about, these things. So in order to call it, now we have to call it, right? So that way we could create our tables. I'm going to go inside my routes and inside my users. And in here, this is where I'm going to be grabbing it. As you can see, I'm already doing it right there. So I'm grabbing the user service from the services user service. I'm creating a new instance of that, passing in the Sequelize client, from config postgres.client, and that's pretty much it. After this, you don't even have to have this. You don't. This is going to be called automatically, which in turn is going to create our table for us. So don't worry about even having this. You don't have to have it. So if we check over here down below, you're going to see that, hey, we actually did create something right here. And like I said, Sequelize by default gives you like what it's actually executing. And you can see right here is going to create a table if not exists, users, and all that attributes and all that stuff. Don't worry. That's just SQL syntax. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. So if you have your PG admin 4 running, you should have, if you go over here, you should already have a dev database, right? Let's refresh it. So if you go down below, go to schemas right here, go to tables. Where is it at? Tables. Wait, where's my tables? Did I not? Let me see, refresh. There it is, my tables, and there's my users table, the one we just created, right? First name, last name, and that's it. Created that and updated that and ID. Those are automatically added, so you don't have to worry about that right now. So let's go back and explore some of the things that you could do with models, or more things you could do with models, okay? Now, first things first, the table name. We never decided or declared what the table name is going to be, right? But Sequelize did give us a table name called users. By default, guys, Sequelize will pluralize. You know what I'm talking about, right? Making a word plural. You know what I'm talking about. God, I hate these words that I cannot pronounce. Anyways, Sequelize by default will pluralize. I think that's how you say it. Whatever you named your model, so user is going to pluralize that, and it's going to say users for our table name. Now, if you don't like that, you literally want your table name to be whatever you defined it as here, there is an option where you could add, right? So like I said, first, this define takes in 3 arguments: table name, the properties, right? And then after that, it takes in the options. So right here, we're going to add in an option, and it's called freeze table name, right? And we're going to set this to true. Now, what this is going to do is literally make our table name the same name as what we defined this model name. So if we define this model as user, it's going to name our table name user. If I save this right now and then over here, refresh, you're going to see nothing happened. And that's because I misspelled table. God, there you go. All right, control save that. Now, if we refresh this, we should have 2. There you go. We have 2 tables, right? I'm gonna get rid of this one. Drop. Yes. So now you can see that we have a user table now because we defined it as user up here. But let's say that you want your model name to be user, but you want your table name to be something different, right? You don't want it to be user or users. You want it to be completely different. Well, there's actually a option you could add. And what's going on? And that option, is table. How simple is this, right? Table name, right? And then you can name it whatever you want. Let's say our users is going to be the employees that we have. So I want to name the table employees. There you go. Control save. Over here now, if I refresh, you're going to see that, hey, we have a table called employees. Let me delete this one. Delete. Yes. And there you go. Look at that. Employees. Awesome, right? I'm telling you guys, some of these things people don't talk about, all right? And I want you to have the best experience possible for Sequelize, all right? I want you to know it pretty good. Now, this Sequelize sync, what is this doing? Basically, what this is doing is literally just creating a table if it does not exist already. So obviously, this does exist. So if we do something and it reruns, it's going to rerun automatically. Obviously, it's not going to create this table again. We already have it right here. It's not going to create it again. But let's say that, hey, I want you to, like, if you're working on a dev environment, right? Anyways, if you're working on a dev environment, let's say that you want to keep on deleting your databases every time you do something new, right? So that way you can see how it plays out. Well, there is an option that you could pass in here, and that option is force to true. Now, what this is going to do is literally is going to drop the database and then recreate it again. So if there wasn't a database, then it'll just create it. But since there is, it's going to drop it and then recreate it again. That's what force does. Another option is alter. Let me actually copy this and put it to the side so that way you have a little reference to it. Alter. Now, what this does, basically, if we make a change right here, we don't want you to, delete it and then recreate it again. We just want you to add the little changes that we did with this model. So let's actually create a little attribute in here. Let's say, I'm going to show you right now. Let me just refresh. This employees does not have an email. You can see an email column, right? We're going to create that right now. So if I do an email right here, email, whatever. If I control save this, come back over here, refresh this, look at the columns, you're going to have, look at this, email. It does this by default, but you don't see anything because it would have been better if I had data in here so that way you could be like, well, it could have just deleted the database and then recreated it with the email property. Yeah, you're right, but it doesn't do that. Just trust me on that. It does not do that. Now, another option that you could add in here is match. Okay, this is a very important one. This is one that I use quite often, and it takes in a regex. So right now we're going to do test $, and then /. All right. So basically, when we say this, basically what we're saying to Sequelize is that, hey, let's make this force. It'll make much more sense if I put force in there. Okay. So basically, what we're saying right here is that, hey, we want you to, delete the database, or not delete the database. Sorry, we want you to delete the the table if the database matches. It has to match. The very last is going to have to be _test. So if the database was called dev_test, then in this case it would actually, delete this table and then recreated it. But in this case, since this is called, what is this database called? It's called dev. As you see, it does not have that _test in it. In this case, it's not going to touch it at all. So basically what we're saying is like, hey, delete this table only if the database matches this regex expression. That's basically what we're saying, okay? Now let's say that, let me actually change this back to alter, and this is force. And let's say that you don't want the timestamps, right? Because automatically, Sequelize does give you the timestamps. Let's say you do not want the timestamps. All you have to do is right here say timestamps. Right there, timestamp, or with an S, is going to set to false, right? Since we alter something, once we hit enter right here, once we go back over here, it should, I hope it did, refresh. Yeah, it got rid of that updated at, created at properties. And we're going to get a little bit more complicated with timestamps. Let's say that you do want timestamps, so I'm going to say true on here, right? But you do not want the created at, right? Or the updated field. It doesn't really matter which one. Let's say that you don't want the created at field, right? The created at property. What you do is call that property and say false on this. Oops, false, right? Control save, and check this out. Over here, you're probably like, this is, dude, I'm trying to give you everything that I know of. So I'm super sorry this is not what you're looking for, but don't worry, we are going to get into more complex stuff later on in this series, queries and all that stuff, associations and all that things, right? But anyways, so created at, I set it to false, and now it only has updated at. But let's say that, hey, you don't like the name updated at. I know, right? It's super dumb, but you don't like it. So what you could do is you could actually rename that, right? Updated at. We could actually rename this to I don't know, let's say update time stamp. Control save. Check this out. Let's refresh. And there you go. Update timestamp. It'll just rename it for you guys. So just in case you don't like something, that by default you could rename it. Also, guys, for like first name or last name, it doesn't really matter. But you can put default values in these properties if you really wanted to. Okay, so let's say for first name, I don't know, you just wanted to have a default value just because. Let's actually make this true, or allow null true, so that way it'll make more sense, right? This could be empty if you really wanted it to. So if that's the case, we want to provide a default value, and we're gonna just say WDJ Doe. John Doe, but WDJ Doe. Okay.
Oh my God. Oh man. Oh my God.
Anyways, if I save this now, if I go to refresh, you're gonna see that. Sorry, I had to go. I heard my wife calling. Anyways, honestly, I do not know why I'm trying to refresh. We're not even trying to add anything. We're just saying, we're just saying that, hey, if we try to add something into this model and then they don't provide a first name, the default value would be WDJ. Actually, it makes more sense if we did WDJ and then last name would be Doe, right? And this has to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but I'm gonna say true. There you go. Control save. All right, so now, guys, I know this is probably something that you didn't want to see because it's probably too basic, and I would agree. This is basic stuff, but like I said, I want you guys to feel very, very comfortable with models and Sequelize, and I'm trying my best to provide you with everything that you're going to need, at least the most common things that you're going to be seeing in the real world. So yeah, yeah. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. We did a little bit, not that much. I don't want this video to be longer than what it is, but don't worry, guys. It is going to get more complex, and believe me, it's going to get complex later on in this series. Trust me, guys. With SQL, you can do so much more things than you can do with, well, actually, you could do basically anything with MongoDB and SQL. It's just much more easier to do it with SQL, even though it's more complex still. In the next video, guys, we are going to be getting a little bit more into depth on like the model queries. You know, just basics. You know, adding, deleting, updating, and also finding some stuff. You know, find this from this database or find this from this tables. And we're also going to be getting to know about getters and setters. These are very important as well. So, you know, make sure you actually keep up. Hit that bell notification, subscribe, and hit that like button. Like I said, I would greatly appreciate it. So yeah, next video, just to recap, is going to be over querying, you know, finding, well, you know, creating, deleting, and updating, and then also finding specific things from a table, and also getters and setters. Like I said, that's going to be very important. So stay tuned for that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. If you didn't, I know this is probably basic for a lot of people. If you didn't, that's fine. This is for the people that don't know up to this point. So stick around, guys. This is going to get more interesting, I'm telling you right now, and it's going to get more complex. Just letting you know. So stay tuned for that, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.